Hello, everyone. I'm here to talk about the challenges you may or will likely have before, during, and after migrating to a public cloud such as Azure, and how network detection and response can save the day. My name is Nadeem Zahid, and I'm VP of Product Management and Global Marketing at cPacket Networks. So, you too want to move to the cloud, right? Well, welcome to the party. Um, Generally, there are only two possible cases that we see when people talk about migrating to the cloud. Either you want to migrate existing workloads to the cloud, which many mid to large enterprises are now going through, or you want to build new products and services in the cloud and drive that innovation engine for competitive differentiation, which is also the case many enterprises are going through. And generally, both are happening in many enterprises at the same time, side by side. While you're going through this journey, um, it's very important to understand that cloud adoption requires both technological and organizational changes. To digitally transform with the cloud, it requires more than just the cloud team. It takes the whole IT team and pretty much the whole organization to support this effort. That involves application teams, involves network teams, involves security teams, and everybody else. What I'm trying to emphasize is that once you're thinking about or you're in the middle of cloud migration, there you're paying attention that it's a collaborative effort and that you are not undermining the importance of certain teams or the tools or support they can provide. And basically, what I'm trying to emphasize here, um, without saying too much, is such as network team, that how they can help you in providing you the adequate network visibility, for example, which is usually um, undermined during the cloud migration process. So, luckily, Microsoft has come up with a structured approach and guidelines to move workloads to Azure. And this is sort of a flow. This is kind of the feasibility implementation strategy, all those stages that you go through, right? So what it provides you really a more organized and structured process, starting with a strategy, going through implementation, then governance, and finally the operation stages. So see, it starts with, for example, aligning the key stakeholders, aligning and identifying the partners that will be part of your offering in the cloud, having that strategy ready, then bringing in cloud adoption team, starting with gathering data and analyzing the data and baselining it before you lift and shift it. And that's perhaps the very first stage where you actually want to use tools such as network visibility to identify dependencies, which is called dependency mapping, to do baselining of different workloads, identifying the connectivity between different nodes on premises and identifying their behaviors, latencies, and user experience KPIs before you actually will break those dependencies or shift those dependencies to the cloud, because you will have to remap and recreate a lot of those dependencies. Then as you have the business case and migration plan ready and the skills identified, that who is going to do it, how long it's going to take to make it happen, and how you're going to make it happen, then the cloud platform team steps in, starts identifying a landing zone in the cloud, as well as the first few workloads that may not be as mission critical, even if something goes south, that you are not putting your critical business impacting, revenue impacting workloads in the cloud to begin with. And all these stages require visibility tools and techniques in place, because without them, you're basically dealing with a new black box and you won't be able to see what is happening. So you can't rebaseline, you can't map, you cannot um, measure the dependencies and the performances that you need to begin with in the cloud that you were used to on premises. Then the cloud governance team steps in and takes over and moves those first 10 workloads into production and starts dealing with the governance regulatory compliance side of it. And then finally, the cloud operations team takes over and starts managing those workloads. And to manage them on ongoing basis, you need to have the visibility in place permanently in there. So what I'm trying to show on this slide is that most of the phases or stages here in this process require support from teams such as security teams and the network teams to make it happen. While the cloud team or cloud center of excellence is driving it, it is simply not possible without the support from the other parts of the IT organization. So Microsoft has also come up with some recommendations, the things that you should think about when you're moving to cloud in terms of now, particularly the security angle. As you're moving those workloads to Azure, you must think of securing them along the way and not leaving any loopholes at any stage, particularly during the migration, because that's when most of the loopholes are left and that hackers are looking for the opportunity to exploit. And so before you have actually mapped a new security stack, a new strengthen your security posture on the other side in the cloud, there is always usually an opening that could be exploited before you're even prepared to deal with it. So it's very important to pay attention to certain areas here, such as making sure that you're trained and making sure that you have the skill set, what you need in order to do your job. Working with the security team, particularly, or if you are the security team, or if you are the network team, you got to think about everything together. Other aspects such as threat detection and mitigation, how are you going to do that? How are you going to integrate and leverage cloud native tools? You might need to leave some of the appliances, quote unquote, in your data center and leverage what is already in the cloud available to you. And many CXOs are mandating that. And how are you going to integrate all that into your workflows? How are you going to deal with incident response situations should something bad happen? So how are you going to detect, but if you still leak something, how are you going to contain and respond to it? So my point is that none of these is possible without strong visibility and control throughout the process. And hence Microsoft emphasizes particularly on visibility and control. And as they say, you cannot control what you cannot see. So these days, it's not a matter of if, but when you will face an attack. And this is how I want you to plan. If you do not have the skills, processes, or the technology to deal with emerging threats, the gap between detecting an incident and becoming a breach and then containing the breach and responding to it increases tremendously. And it increases the dwell time, which, trust me, you do not want. On average, research by IBM shows it takes a business about 197 days to identify a breach and then 69 days to contain and respond to it. Your goal is not to be that business. So it's very important that the security gap that I'm showing here is shrunk and you're prepared to deal with that. This security gap increases due to many reasons, but generally it's due to the confusion or lack of preparation, which further delays the containment and response to an incident. For example, the organization is usually in a shock stage because everybody thinks this cannot happen to them. The lack of network visibility is another major reason because usually while the security tools have detected and identified, you almost always have to go to the network level to find out what is going on or what has happened. Scattered data, different data islands where you didn't have a central consolidation and processing of the network data. And so you don't know which side of the network it came, east, west, north, south direction. No data captured that as well. Although you may have some of the other components, but then you never thought of capturing and storing the network data where you could go back and replay and reconstruct the situation to investigate. And that's such an important part of the evidence and part of the process to actually take any measures on that you're missing. And even if you have that, then finally many organizations lack the skill that how to run the forensics, how to use these tools, how to use the dashboards, for example. So this is what takes time. And this is what, that under the panic situation, you simply cannot do effectively. Effective defenses require network visibility in the cloud in place before you start your migration, or at least think in parallel, which requires access to uninterrupted network traffic, delivery to the right tools at the right time in the right format, which requires the right tools, techniques, integrations in place, and people trained and all that stuff, right? So you want to make sure that you're establishing a visibility practice ahead of time as part of your cloud migration strategy. Otherwise, chances are that you're going to be learning some hard lessons and you'll have to do it eventually anyways, but it may be too late by then. So this is driving close collaboration and convergence between network and security teams, hence the term network detection and response. The CIOs and CISOs are pushing their teams within IT organization to work very closely with each other and support each other's agendas. In this context, network is essentially becoming a service and is no more just network guys' business. The network team is supposed to collect, maintain high resolution, high quality, uninterrupted data and deliver that to the security threat detection and mitigation tools, aka security delivery, for not missing any events, not missing any data, because if you're missing the data, you will never find the events that happen in there. For example, I'll give you an example here. In the recent SolarWind attack, if I'm correct, there are about 34 packets that if you captured those 34 packets, you would have caught that hack. And this really 4 packets out of that you do not want to miss. And so it takes as little as that. And so to catch an anomaly, to catch something serious, you want to make sure that you have lossless delivery of the network data to security tools northbound. So that's the northbound service the network guys need to think about to provide to other teams such as security team. And then it is still possible that because of the algorithmic problems or because of other challenges, human errors or whatever, not paying attention to alerts, whatever, some events might turn into incidents and eventually breaches. Or that hacker is able to navigate around, change its tactics, and increase the dwell time, and basically the breach goes on before you can detect and respond to it. So you should expect that you will encounter some breaches someday, and you need to then prepare for the other side of it that the network team needs to provide to the security team if the security teams ask for it, which is then capturing the network data. As you're delivering the real-time data on the left side, you're also capturing a copy of it, writing it to disk somewhere to storage, and that data is archived permanently for you. And that can be either all data based on your requirements, or it could be selective data based on certain high alert situations. And then you can go back to that historic data and you can replay, reconstruct, and analyze the data to find out what happened should you have a not so good day. And that is the forensics part of it. And the importance of the forensics part, because it takes specialized tools, it takes certain techniques such as fast search capabilities, high performance capture, that you do not want to deploy the cheapest solution available in the industry. So with these two sides, the northbound service and the southbound service by the network team to the security teams, not only drives a well integrated, collectively foolproof strategy between NetOps and SecOps in terms of security posture, but it provides complete 360-degree visibility that you need for moving to cloud and not leaving any loopholes open during the process. This is how cPacket makes it happen with our security partners inside Azure as well as on premises, by the way. So we have a visibility suite under CCloud brand umbrella that has few components, such as in this case, our CCloud CVUV virtual packet broker provides uninterrupted network data to Vectra AI sensors, which is that northbound service that I just talked about. And so in this case, Vectra sensors are dependent upon how you get the data from Azure Cloud, which is a little bit trivial, and then pre-process that data and making sure that the Vectra sensors continue to see that continuous stream of data from within the cloud to do what their algorithms do, to identify threats and to generate alerts. And then on the southbound service side that is talked about, the incident response, CStorV, which is another component of the CCloud umbrella, can also take a copy of the data from the same CVV and can then write it to cloud storage disks and archive the data for before, during, and after situations. And in case you need to pull that data using a CClear V analytics engine here, can actually pull the right data, can help you search the right data and run forensics analysis on it whenever you need that. So in this case, this well-integrated solution works like a charm basically, and give you robust 360-degree visibility in Azure that you need to basically strengthen your security posture. This is not just a reference architecture on the paper. This is a deployed and functional solution in production with some of our customers, such as leading technology companies and major financial institutes. So you may be surprised that it costs a business on average 3.9 million internationally, and much more than that, about 8.2 million just in the US per breach. And that's a research that was done by IBM and Ponemon Institute. So think about it. You can invest a little bit in the visibility ahead of time and avoid all that revenue loss, all that customer churn, and reputation loss and legal costs and all that stuff, and have peace of mind. Or you can wait and go through the whole painful process. As you heard, many C-levels lost their jobs after some recent breaches. And in that case, it's also very hard for you to find another role if you were held responsible in your previous company for a breach. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to how you can strengthen your security posture by bringing network traffic visibility in the game, because you cannot rely just on the security tools. As you can see, security tools do not specialize in terms of what is happening at the pipes level, right? And you got to make sure that you have the right visibility to actually complement the role that security tools are doing for you and the investments you have made in security tools. By providing, therefore, an intelligent observability platform for enabling network aware service and security assurance, and the word network aware is the key part here, is what cPacket does and what we specialize. And in that way, we believe we de-risk IT infrastructure and operations. I highly encourage you to visit our showcase page here at Ignite and learn more and find out how it could help you in your cloud migration. And by the way, while you're doing that, there are also some great prizes we are giving away. So win some prizes while you're having fun learning. With that, thanks for listening to me and have a good time here at Ignite.